Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Hari Om Swamiji.
Hari Om, Hari Om. Again, Papa prompted one devotee to send an email. In that email it is said, you make us pray. Then we feel great that we have prayed. Your duty to get the positive result. It is your duty to get the positive result. But you are not blessing us with the awareness of inner reality, which is you yourself. Just giving us a small glimpse or a faint hint of clarity that you are there will not do, Papa. Please give us full prompting for fully knowing your presence everywhere, apart from being within us. And that is the need of the hour, Papa. So the message is we place everything before him, no? We don't have to stand on any formality, there is no protocol, there is no fixed forms of approach. The only thing is, he wants us to pray. He has given us a sense of individuality, which is called the sense of freedom. No? Not really a freedom, but a sense of freedom. And he is watching us whether we are turning towards him. And that is how Nama chanting, prayer, introspection, all these things help us. But in order to ensure that it doesn't slip into an activity, every now and then we have to devise some methods. So the method here is to address. Normally when we pray, we get some joy, We suppose we read out the composition of a great saint. We find joy. Not only the hearer is enjoying, we are also enjoying. But here the devotee says, you should, having given me the prompting to pray to you, it is your responsibility to see that I get the positive feeling. Meaning, it should not become superficial. Initially, when we repeat the prayer, with all enthusiasm, sincerity, we try to go along with the theme. But when it becomes a regular habit, unknowingly the mind slips into a mechanical. In all prayers we find that. That is why Papa always answers that you rely on the Guru within, God within. So self-originated prayer, self-originated, like the one which we are now reading, You are not blessing us with the awareness of inner reality, which is you yourself. Just giving us a small glimpse or a faint hint of clarity that you are there will not do, Papa. That should be the attitude. Please give us full prompting for fully knowing your presence everywhere, apart from being within us. And that is the need of the hour, Papa. So we try to live up to also, not merely prayer, we try to live up. Today, a couple of sadhakas, when they come to, they raise the same point that everything is all right, but when we are practically, when we are involved in our daily life, certain things crop up. For no fault of us, when somebody behaves, it's a tough job to keep up this remembrance. It is a tough job, no doubt. When everything goes well, it's okay. All are loving, all are doing exactly in a smooth way, in a passive way, in a sattvic way, everything is all right. But when anyone does not behave like that, do we try to bring in the God dimension? How are we to do that? So our while Nama chanting, this should also be there. You have revealed during your sadhana, when the so-called labeled down-pulling tendencies arose, immediately when you cried, you got the answer intuitively that why do you separate me from any thought? I am there everywhere. And in that way you said you were able to change the face of the so-called labeled negative thought. That stage is difficult for us to reach now. Then we intensely pray to give us some method. He is giving us a test. At least we should be aware that he is giving us a test. So sadhana should be there, not merely knowing all these things. Sadhana by which daily, we are trying to connect ourselves with him scientifically. So inner dialogue, writing a prayer to him, chanting with the right concept, dealing with everything, dealing with love in all that we do. Whenever we fail or forget, we immediately say, sorry, I forgot. And Srimad Bhagavad Gita helps us. In one of the slokas, so this will all help us while chanting. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishtum matta smridijnanam apohanam cha vedaishcha sarvam ahameva vedyo vedantagrit veda videha chaham. He says, I am seated in the hearts of all living beings. Sarvasya cha aham. No? And from me come memory, knowledge as well as forgetfulness. So then we take him into task. You have spoken through Srimad Bhagavad Gita that you are there in everybody. But you, through a particular form, you behaved in such a way that I forgot you, and then because of that you made me miserable, and I am miserable. I am also making others miserable. Like that, we try to shape. On 3rd of December, we are having this Gita Jayanti day, It is not for merely chanting or remembering. It is a manual for our daily life. So we try to pick such of the slogas that inspire us, that touch us, that help us, It may not be possible to imbibe or assimilate the entire 701 slogas, but it may be possible to get ourselves connected to a few slogas. That is enough. That will help us whenever we are confronted with the practical problems. Papa used to say to our devotees, you must also learn a few slogas. So for that will help us, because it is directly given to us by the Lord, and it will have a cushioning. Otherwise, how will I learn? I am chanting. I would like to be always conscious that He is there. He has given me a field to live. This particular human birth, I am told, that is the gateway for liberation. Without this human birth, it is not possible. Because of your grace, you have given me this human birth, and then you put me into various fields like family life, professional life, social life. But you also saw to it that all these sublime thoughts are given to me through Satsang. And you convinced me that this is my ultimate aim. And whatever I do at these 3 levels, I should be able to bring in this dimension. All these things are understood. I try my level best to implement it. But there are many, many moments where I forget. Especially when things are not moving in the way in which it should move, according to me. There I think my will prevails, and I am unable to accept your will. So give us some technique by which I accept your will. Whenever that is not happening in line with what I consider as my will, immediately you should make me to realize that it is because I am unable to accept your will, and then submit myself to your will. So these slokas will definitely help us. That is how the Shastras came, it's not for academic reading. Whether it's in the form of Upanishad, whether it's in the form of Shankara Bhashyas. We have to do the digging. That is important. The other day we were sharing, a sloka from Vivek Chudamani. So he said, if you want to have the treasure, that amritam inside, first you hear. First you get the guidance from a seer, from an evolved soul. And then by hearing, no. By calling it, no. But we have to do the digging, khananam, mining, perseveringly, patiently. So then only we will be able to. Because when a labeled negative things happens for no fault of us. Papa was asked to get down from the train 6 miles before Rameshwaram because he was a ticketless traveler. But the Sadhuram was accompanying him. He said, why should he make us to get down? We have got 6 miles to go. Papa was cool and calm. Immediately he was able to find out the finger of God. Normally pilgrimages have to be done on foot. This time God has been extremely kind that we have to cover only 6 miles. So these are the techniques God used through Papa to transform a seemingly negative thing to a positive one. The in-depth study of Inquest of God through various episodes, they teach us. So this is very important. We have to keep on remembering. Today also we were sitting with the in-depth study, and then it is becoming more and more clearer and clearer that in-depth study does not end on 27th December 2022. Only the centenary year comes to an end, that's all. In-depth study is an ongoing process because every time when you go deep, you find something here.
We only begin our journey, Swamiji.
We only begin our journey.
Again, one particular word, one particular approach. It is a simple, innocent word at the outer level. We would have covered many, we may feel. But today on a particular Dwaraka, we were going through. What is it that spontaneously strikes? So one of the sadhakas who was assisting us, he immediately said, a slave is a slave because he is free. What is that word?
Slave is a slave. Slave for his free.
Yes, Swami.
This aspect we did not bring it out during this thing. We have gone through that. Sudhamapuri. A slave is a slave because he is free. These are the words of Swami Ramtirtha. So this comes only when the act of surrender takes place, A child is free. It can demand anything, but it is free. Because everything is taken care of by the child's parents. A slave is a slave because he is free.
Is he also not bound by the master?
It is the responsibility of the master.
Can we say that he is free? If he is bound by the master,
He is bound, because my surrender to him is total, I don't have any individual will.
in that sense,
I don't have to bother about anything, no planning, no scheming. Throughout Papa's life, you can find that. On the 27th December 2021, when he started this yatra, the individual will is not there,
totally absent.
He got down at E Road. 5 o'clock he got into the train in Mangalore. Evening he got down at E Road and then did not know what to do. And somehow he came out and went to saw a mother, asked for food. She gave some curds and rice and then came back to the station. What to do? No idea, na? Then somebody comes and says, where are you going? No idea. Okay, I am going to Trichy. A train is coming at such and such a time. You can also join with me. That is how. So he is free. The moment he comes to know that he is a slave of Ram, throughout with that perspective when we find no planning, no nothing, Somebody talks about Himalayas, immediately the prompting comes, he will go. That's all. They say your health will not permit. That is all the duty of Ram. To us it is a tall talk because we have got our individual will so strong in us. So we remember because today also when we sat, emphasis, torchlight is this word, have you done this? Through somebody, it will be pointed out. And then we have to do a lot of manana there. And we search for his words which throw more light on this. That manana also helps us. That is why we are in a position to reproduce it now. So when we are on the path, the message is that he will be guiding us. He will be guiding us through an individual, through a book, intuitively also he will do it. How he does it, nobody knows. But this effort, so-called effort, until we maintain the sense of individuality, is necessary, which is called sadhana. So whenever anything, adverse things happen, we are unable to handle it, in the shortest possible time we will be able to pull us up and remind, there must be some reason why he makes us to go through such a trying moment. Once Puja Swami...
Another such very important point is Ram does not speak. That's a very touching and very important thing I felt.
Correct. Ram does not speak, but Ram also speaks,
It's through people, through events.
And that context we should know. When there was somebody wanted to just get into some argument, then Papa said, Ram does not speak. The moment he speaks, he is not Ram. It is something like a mantra in Kenopanishad, I do not know that I know it well, capital I. I do not know, the sadhaka says, the disciple says to the Guru, I do not know that I know it well. It means God, no? Then immediately next word, not that I do not know, I know too. From different two levels, this is revealed. So here similarly, he says the reply, I and you. So when I and you are there, he is not there. The Kabir song is there, what is that? Jab
जब मैं हूँ तब तू ही तू मैं नहीं
No.
Shall I Google and find out something?
जब हरि में नाही,
जब मैं हूँ हरि ना
Swamiji,
हाँ
the ease with which Papa says, God is in front of me,
हाँ
you. That is itself so touching.
हैं
The ease with which Papa says, God is in front of me in you, in the ticket collector.
ticket collector, no, Swami, when he is standing, God is in front of me in the form of you.
yeah. Then he said, yes, I am seeing him here. God is everywhere.
And he says,
स्वामी जी जब मैं था
जब मैं था तब हरि नहीं.
जब हरि है मैं नहीं
जब मैं था तब हरि नहीं.
जब हरि है मैं नहीं.
So this is what, they wanted to convey this through so many words. So when I am here, that means the I-ness, the sense of I-ness prevents me from knowing that he is there. So when I talk, he is not there means, though he is the motivating, articulating principle behind my talking, I am not aware, no. Only I am there, he is not there. So speech creates duality. The speaker and the man spoken to, Ram is one and indivisible. It is sheer ignorance for a man whose ego is a great obstruction for his complete realization to say that he is God. So at one context it is right, but same Papa will say in many poems, I am that.
எங்கும் நிறைந்தாயே நீ எங்கும் மறைந்தாயோ.
எங்கு முன்னே நான் தேடி அலைந்தேனே. That stage we should reach, So slogas and songs do help us. Why did we come across this Jab Mehta? There is some reason. I don't know. Huh?
Maybe
that is
I do not know. I do not know.
I do not know that I know it well, not that I do not know. I know too.
Swamiji, you started, once Puja Swamiji, you started. You started to tell something, then she asked you a question. Once Swamiji. telling once Swamiji, then that question came, so that got interrupted.
Swamiji once said, when one is passing through the bitterest experiences, for no fault of him, that's what he, in the Laukika language, in the worldly language, Vyavaharik language, I have not committed anything wrong, but still I am misunderstood, or people shout at me and make me feel restless. Why should I be subjected? So he casually said, bitterest experiences are the fees you have to pay to pass out in the exams, where you find it is God's will. Unless he does that, how will you know that there is a will other than your will? Later on we start thinking about it, no? If that is not happening, how will we know that there is a will other than our will? We only know our will, I am planning, I am thinking, I have learned, I am conceiving this idea, I am trying to put it in practice, I am successful, I am not successful. All these things, everything is centered on my will, my planning. All these years we have been living with that. And one fine morning the spiritual preceptor says, it's God's will that prevails. How am I to accept? That is why he is making us to go through trying moments to see that your will, it's all right, so long as your will, you take it as my will, okay. If you take it as an absolutely your will, I have to show you the way that it is my will only prevails, not your will. Bitterest experiences are the fees we are paying to pass in the exams of life, Ultimately to know that it is His will that prevails. So it will be difficult for us to accept. We have not trained our mind to do like that. According to us, we are leading a righteous life, we do only righteous things. We are leading a value-based life. Why should this come again? That's why we remember Vinobaji's, when he deals with in talks of Gita, when he deals with the three gunas, he will say the tamasic and rajasic qualities are to be eliminated. Sattvic qualities are to be wounded. Below the waist we have to damage. We will not kill him. Because he says, Sattvic is necessary. But if you feel you are Sattvic, then it will not give you that. So even to become unaware of the Sattvic qualities, we have to remove the Sattvic quality. Then only it becomes Sattvic. So he said you have to wound the Sattvic quality, the rest of the two you have to eliminate. So how do we do that? That is why though we may be leading a righteous life, value-based life, still we have to pass through trying moments. We may not be able to get a direct answer for this, but then we try to understand, to make me know that His will only prevails. He has to make me to pass through this. Huh?
Yes, no longer are we going to pull the string and breathe. We are going to let it go. I did nothing from it.
We have to leave. We have to take the plunge. Even to take the plunge, we need His grace. restlessness,
How does it come from?
our restlessness,
How does it come from?
by imposing something on us. We have tried with all the available things. The intensity is not galloping to the extent to which we all aspire. So now we have to do something else. When the doctor is closely watching the patient, whether his treatment is all right, in Wayanad when we were there, when we take the patients to hospital, many doctors, when they find they is not responding, he will telephone to us. He is not responding to my treatment, please take him elsewhere. Have a second opinion. Whatever I know, I have tried, no, he is not responding. So similarly, we are trying whatever we know. When it is not responding, we take for a second opinion. Second opinion means we put one's self-denial, self-control, self-discipline. Something by which, we are reminded constantly. We should be alert. Yesterday we read out, introspection and direct examination of the heart is essential for a sadhaka. And you asked, what is the remedy? He has given us the remedy. Prayer, self-control, self-discipline, satsang, and acts of love and compassion. So this evaluation should go on, Where am I? 3 questions he has put. It is a direct hit. Introspection and direct examination of his own heart are essential for a man who wishes to make himself pure and thereby prepare himself for obtaining eternal peace and happiness, which his soul thirsts for. Let the pride with his be let him know where he stands, what he is, what his inner cravings are, what is the disease that has seized his soul, what are the impurities lurking in his mind, what is the great obstacle that stands between him and the immortal bliss and peace, what are the bonds that keep him tied down to the low levels of life and prevent him from soaring into the heaven of the real self. When he has thus, by deep reflection, discovered what he is, he can, through prayer, self-discipline, company of great souls, and acts of love and compassion, get rid of all the impediments, mental obsessions, nay, darkness that envelops his soul, and realize the splendor, power, peace, joy of the great truth that dwells within him. Very assuring words. But we have to do our part. And the barometer, we feel, we don't know whether it is right or wrong, each one has to try. The barometer will become clear when we take to chanting of God's name, whether the mind is disciplined or not. Because if there is no whole-souled involvement in chanting, we can take it as granted that the mind is not steadied. It has got still attraction to something else. We will immediately come to know. After the 3rd chanting or 4th chanting or 5th chanting, we will find it just runs about. So this self-discipline, where we have to concentrate, it was made clear to us by Puja Swamiji, because when he met Papa, when Papa gave him the mantra, he did not give him anything else. Then he said, when Swamiji asked, when doubts arise, what am I to do? Then he said, if doubts arise, take it that you have not chanted Ram Nam properly. We were not very clear. What is the relationship between chanting and the doubt clearing? No? Now we know that is the barometer. Whether the mind can involve itself in a particular line of activity without any interruption or not, I know. When I sing a song, when I go through the tables, it automatically comes one by one. There is no error there. But when I sit for Ram Nam, after say a few seconds or few minutes, are we having the same tempo or not? Then we realize that is what Papa meant. That is what Papa meant. Properly chanting. It is the barometer. It is the litmus test to what extent the mind is receptive to do anything. Rest of the things I memorize, and it keeps on guiding me properly. It is from a repeatedly reading, thinking, absorbing, it keeps on coming. So that is why I don't err. But when I take to chanting, it does not happen. What happens? Why is it so? You remember when you and I were children, when you were students, teachers used to ask us to learn by heart certain poems, is it not? Some songs, poems, some tables in the mathematics. We do it perfectly well. No? After we may commit some mistakes, but after then it gets civilized. Even the conjugation of our grammar, everything. So there I don't err, later on. But here I err. What happens to me then? There, when I learned the table, there was a total involvement in it, wholesome. I was inspired, either through the teacher or to gain marks. Some reason is there. But here, though Papa has been telling, have we been able to understand it? Have we really understood it? So that also we can put it in our prayer.
Collective chanting also is very much. Collective chanting.
Initially collective chanting will help, but that will not help individually, Because then we are depending upon an external prop, which you cannot get always. When you are walking through the street with some job, if your mind is not trained to individually chant, you will not be able to chant. So individual sadhana is very important, and collective sadhana does help to give a boost, that's all. Papa did not depend upon collective chanting at all. In fact, nobody was there, everybody was discouraging him. Nobody encouraged him. If you are doing for 22 hours out of 24 hours, nobody encouraged, nobody joined. But initially he started enjoying it because when he was going to his elder brother's house, there the bhajan was going on. But even then, if you remember rightly, he did not join the bhajan. He was reveling on the theme, detaching himself. There also he was doing individual plumbing, individual manana, throughout. We can find Papa's one. If we go through Papa's, we find that he was relying purely on God and doing sadhana individually. He was not seeking anything from outside. Including the initiation, he did not ask, And never he felt bound by anything, traditions or anything. Totally free. And he was always trying to, in the initial stages, at least up to 1928, if what we remember is right, which we could understand from Passage to Divinity, when he was in the Kasaragod ashram. He was alone. People used to come and go, that's all alone. So you can find now 22 here. Technically we can say that he was with his family, but he was away from the family, okay? And then 21, no? 21. 27th December 2021, when he left after 22, okay. 22 is in this year, no?
Yes, Swamiji, 19.
So he left on December
1922, Swamiji. 1922, because we are
22.
1922.
So the 1922, this is 2022. So 27th December 1922, after that, that means up to 1928, till Mataji joined the ashram, he was all alone. Only for a few time, Gunda, so many people were there. Very few. And when Mataji came, they all left one by one. So he was all alone there. We are remembering because the sadhana, he always felt that individual sadhana should precede. He was not against anybody comes there also, they used to have bhajan and everything. Ramadhyanave ninage sreshta manave. So on some occasions Swamiji would bless us with his darshan in the morning also. On two such mornings he brought us two songs he had composed in Kannada. Ramadhyanave ninage sreshta manave. Rama namada mahime yashtendu vanishali. We all knew Swamiji as a scholar in English and his fondness for the English. Years earlier, he had written a remarkable poem entitled The Song Eternal. And here also he says, till one period he was calling only Swamiji, Swamiji, Swamiji. And later on, after Mataji is coming there, when Mataji started calling Papa as Papa, everybody started calling him as Papa. Toward the end of 1926, no, 26 or 28, Swamiji returned to Kasaragod in about April 1928. After Swamiji's return to Kasaragod, a plot on the slopes of Pirikunji was fixed to build a small ashram for Swamiji's stay. After personal inspection arrangements were made. So Kasaragod ashram was set up in the end of May in 1928. So you can imagine now 22 to 28, 6 years. Either he was touring or he was alone. So individual sadhana. Even 20 to 22 also individual sadhana. Nobody was there to encourage him. Nor did he ask anybody to join. This is a very important aspect because many of us, when we shut
90% we are depending on collective sadhana.
90% we hardly do any individual sadhana, no. This aspect has not struck to us, not that we don't want to try. Just like when we go to the puja temple, we ask the pujari, to do the puja or arati, and we do a small acts, and then we put the dakshina, do like this, and then go back. Actually doing puja or hearing the archana or going through this and mentally involving ourselves and connecting ourselves with the deity, very difficult. All these things are not taken. We are not trained. Because that is individual sadhana. Whatever the pujari does, it is external. Initially we may not know. Later on we should know, What is it that he is doing when we go there? He offers some flowers, he utters some mantras. We hardly concentrate on what is being done there. We don't connect ourselves to the deity. We are satisfied if a mala is given to us, if a prasad is given to us, we will be satisfied. Oh, prasad, that's all. When we come out, we will say, what was put on the deity, it has been given to me by him. That's all. So what?
Swamiji? Swamiji? Just I want some more clarification. Meditative chanting. I mentioned in case of her so many times. Meditative chanting.
Meditative chanting means not merely chanting. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. There are so many ways. One is that where from the sound comes. We are chanting the name of whom. So we say he is the life force. He is making me to chant. So along with the chanting, all these things are coming. And who is he? He is the subtle and mysterious power. He is love. He is truth. He is goal of human perfection. Like that also we should. It may not be possible for us. But that's why we say when we take to chanting, at least once in a while we try. That means somebody is leading the nama and we are following it. So when somebody is leading, we can witness, hearing. Who is now witnessing? Who is hearing? We ask ourselves. These are all meditative, So he insisted, he practiced only meditative chanting. That means during that period, the dissimilar thought currents are not at all disturbing him. When the meditative chanting is not there, after a few chanting, the mind will start going. Not that we want to. Our eyes will be open, no?
Yes, sir.
Naturally, we will see a person coming to the bhajan hall or some Kamadhi Mandir. It will definitely go. Or even when we close and sit somebody's voice, it will be dominating. Somebody's voice will be very, very, very smooth. Immediately we think about that individual. Immediately we think about that particular tune. He is now singing the tune which I like very much. Finished. We are away from the theme. So unless we train our mind to go along with it, the real chanting, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, if it is Ram Nam. If it is Shivanam, Om Namah Shivaya, something like that. Om Namo Narayanaya, or Virum Narayanaya, Krishna, anything. Nowhere else it goes. The moment it goes, we open and we restart. Or suppose the mind is so turbulent, we drop the idea of chanting for some time. Just have a walk and come back and then do it. The train of thought should be immediately stopped, So these are all meditative chanting. We are watching our mind and then we are trying to go along with the chanting, and whenever it doesn't go along with the chanting, we immediately do something. So that means, you are always thinking about how to, the sense of individuality is alert, vigilant to go along with the chanting, and a stage comes when we become one with the chanting. So it is good that this point was raised, meditative chanting.
Swamiji, our beloved Ramdas, when he was called by whom as Papa, is it Mataji first or somebody else earlier? How it came into practice? Namala கூப்பிட்டா குழந்தைங்கலாம் போய் பப்பா பப்பான்னு ஃபாதரை கூப்பிடுறாங்க. அந்த மாதிரி from whence, who called him?
His daughter Rame used to address him as Papa. So people were addressing him as Swamiji only. And when he took to this order of sannyas and when he went out, everywhere where people were addressing him as Swamiji, Swamiji, Swamiji only. But when Mataji came to the Kasaragod ashram, she heard Rame calling Papa, and she knew that as soon as he is my father, mother and guru, so then she started calling Papa as Papa. She did not say Swamiji. So then when Mataji started calling Papa, then everybody started calling him as Papa. As we, please hear, these are the words of Chandrasekhar Rao. As we started addressing Swamiji by the sweetly endearing term of Papa, it would only be proper for me to refer to Swamiji as Papa hereafter. So here he says, when Rame started calling Papa as Papa, then she also started. When Ramabai went to pay her respects to her father, he found okay. Swamiji would say, one day opening of the ashram, the Anandashram was essentially where of hurricane lamp, you are taking almost here it said. Initially, I used to stop many a night at their house. Mataji would invariably drop in at our house, either on her way to the ashram or way back from it, and most kindly narrate to my mother and my wife from Swamiji's talks, snatches from my Swamiji's talks. Mataji in those days used to refer Swamiji as Mauli. Initially, Mataji started addressing Papa as Mauli, Amma. But as advised by Ramabai's mother, she soon adopted the endearing term of addressing Swamiji as Papa, just as Ramabai was doing it. And we too followed Mataji's way of addressing Swamiji as Papa.
In the year?
In the year.
1928, 29. Because Mataji joined Papa in 1928. So it was First she started addressing as Mauli, then Papa.
What language?
Marathi word for mother.
Yeah.
Mauli.
Yeah.
Marathi word for mother.
Right? She was addressing Mauli.
Marathi.
In Marathi, yeah.
Thank you, ma.
Next,
So that is how it started, and later on, but as advised by Ramabai's mother,
He started calling.
she soon adopted the endearing term of addressing Swamiji as Papa, just as Ramabai was doing. And we too followed Mataji's way of addressing Swamiji as Papa. Up to this page, in this book, he was addressing as Swamiji, Swamiji, Swamiji. And later on, only Papa. So that is how Papa became the universal Papa.
Thank you very much for the clarification. Kind of.
So, thing is meditative chanting. So today we take it as that is the take-home message for all of us. We have to be vigilant. We have to be watchful. Otherwise, the life will go on like this. How do I get the trustlessness? That was the question. So that means the anxiety to reach the destination. When we are on a tour, every time we fix up the target to be reached, and there will be anxiety, we have to reach today. So similarly, that restlessness should be there. That means no other distraction will take us away. That exclusiveness will come. These are all the things that will be cemented only by this meditative chanting. So the whole thing, at the end, he made somebody to ask this question. That is the most pivotal thing, meditative chanting. And we are immediately asking ourselves, have we been able to do the meditative chanting? We can say that at times it comes, at times it is not. So we will now try to make it as much as meditative as possible.
Coupled with Manmana, Bhava,
Yeah, so many things we have to add, otherwise the mind will not behave.
Swami Vaishekshante, Tigane Priyosmi.
எப்படியாவது அங்கே உட்காரத்துக்கு முடியணும். என்னமோ சொல்ல பாடலை.
All three masters are meant to surrender this mind, which is like a lotus having infinite petals of ideas. One should surrender all his ideas and ideals to God.
Haridasgiri Swamiji said, என்னமோ சொல்ல பாடலை. Beautiful. Every time, now and then you should remember that word.
Yes.
உனக்கும் எனக்கும் சம்பந்தம் இருக்குதுன்னு தெரியறது, ஆனால் ஏன் படைச்சாய் அது தெரியாது. நான் என்னத்துக்கு பிறந்தேன்னு எனக்கு தெரியாது, நீ எனக்கு என்னத்தனா படைச்சாய் எனக்கு தெரியாது. This sort of dialogue, why I am born, why you made me to get this human birth, that I don't know.
Yes.
So at least, we are establishing a channel of communication with him.
Yes.
Those who know the Tamil, they will enjoy that words. Anyhow, let us try to retain as much as possible what Papa has given to us today, and try to do the masticating, otherwise it will go.
Yes.
Some words at least we will try, and try to bring in this meditative chanting into a reality. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Hari Om Swami. Pranam.
Hari Om to everybody. Hari Om.